Greetings, my friends. Welcome to the next episode of the Mint Mob podcast. Jason here, joined by my buddy Alex across the pond in Germany. We're going to dive into what's going on in the world, also with our project, talk a little bit about the craziness that we're seeing in the marketplace. But before we do that, let's check in and see how Alex is doing. What's going on, brother? How are you?
Hey man, I'm great. If I when I checked my X timeline for the first time this morning, I saw all these crazy news about stock market crash. Bitcoin crash was basically trending, and I checked my coin market cap. Everything was red, and I was like, okay, what happened? Because in the end, if you check the news for the past couple of days, you saw so many good news, and everyone was basically waiting for numbers to go up, and usually the opposite happens. So, were you surprised seeing all the stuff happening today?
Um, Not really, no. I mean, I think MicroStrategy was in the market, obviously bidding up the prices, or at least putting a floor under Bitcoin per se. And then, of course, you had some negative headlines. Anytime that happens and the broader market moves, I mean, it's just kind of par for the course. And the more, traditional investors that come into the crypto space, the more they're going to move lockstep with traditional investment thinking, right? So when negative news leads, you'll see them move to what they consider safe assets. So no, I don't really think there's anything, out of the ordinary per se. Yeah, that's just me. How about you?
Yeah, I mean, what I wanted to add is that when when I checked all that stuff going on this morning, I repeatedly read the term DeepSeek, and I was like, okay, what's DeepSeek? And I kind of went into that rabbit hole and saw that DeepSeek is some sort of AI model coming from China, and the big thing that, at least that's what the media says, what caused the stock markets and the crypto market to crash is that DeepSeek is a company from China claiming that they built their AI model, um, from like a budget of like $6 million. And if you see that, and they have like only 200 engineers, and if you see that and compare that to Nvidia, or all the big AI companies here who spend so much money to create these kind of AI models, to train these models, and then there is a company from China spending $6 million and creating an AI model that seems to be like, some people used it and they say like, hey, it seems like it's better than ChatGPT and Grok and all that stuff out there. And yeah, that is supposed to be a reason, or one of the reasons why the stock market crashed today. And have you ever heard about DeepSeek before?
Not until today, no.
Okay, so yeah, I was actually like surprised as well, and I never heard of it. And I tried registering, but I read that I think an official DeepSeek account wrote that they like witness heavy attacks against their systems, and that people are currently not like able to register themselves on platforms. So yeah, obviously, like but like reading behind the lines, they claim that bigger companies are attacking them. But yeah, in the end, I mean, it's an open market, and I'm not sure. Like, the big question is whether they actually provided wrong information, just like, on the budget they had, just to shake the markets. What do you think?
I don't really think there's any way to audit that, so unless they're going to open their books, which is highly doubtful, being that China is considered kind of a rival to, not just the West, but many, many countries. I don't see that happening. So I think at this point, it's just going to be anyone's guess as to what's actually taken place, and we'll have to see what shakes out. But I think that the interesting thing here is that going forward, all of these large language models that we're calling AI or what have you, that take up, these massive, massive data centers and all this compute. I think at the end of the day, this stuff's going to continue to get smaller. And I think to that point, we've seen this sort of manifest itself in the new NVIDIA computer. I think I sent you an article earlier That basically
Mm-hmm.
highlights the fact that, NVIDIA has created basically a supercomputer that can run, that the average person can afford, which is kind of interesting because that's never really happened before. And they're selling it for $3,000. So if you're even an individual, who's set aside a little bit of money, you can now own a supercomputer. Now imagine a small business or a medium-sized business can own two or three or four, maybe more. You can see that the compute that is available to smaller groups of people, maybe DeepSeek is a smaller group of people, maybe an individual, like I said, small businesses and the like, that they'll have access to more and more compute for less and less money. And I think as long as that trend continues, the technologies that require massive amounts of compute, like AI, can be run on smaller and smaller platforms. So I think that's just going to be a trend that continues. I mean, we've seen it from the beginning of technology. Everything continues to get smaller and smaller and smaller to the point where, nowadays we've got more compute on a handheld phone than we've had, in 10 rooms of computers, 40 years ago. So I think it's just part of the way technology advances personally.
Yeah, from what I read, it's actually like not just some sort of like tech thing. I think DeepSeek has a completely different approach of how to train your models with, which is like a lot more efficient compared to the ones we have right now. Yeah, I'll definitely look into it because from what I've seen, it definitely like you can do so much cool stuff on it, and especially like stuff I've never seen before. And it's open source, which is another point that has been yeah, a surprise and like not provided by other AI models. Yeah, let's see where that goes. But if we look at the market in general, and you see what people write, what's the sentiment right now, and it's crazy to think about. I mean, okay, we had a little crash today, but even yesterday, when Bitcoin was somewhere at like 102, $103,000, I would have never imagined seeing these prices and still see such a bad sentiment in the markets. What do you think is the reason for that? Do you think it's just because most degens hold altcoins and their bags obviously bleed most, or what do you think is the reason?
I don't really know that there is a specific thing that you can put a finger on other than just basic human psychology. Anytime something negative happens in a fast moving market, people who are incentivized to operate in short term environments are incentivized to move assets quickly and then figure out the story later. And I think the more that trading becomes either automated, algorithmic, short term, whatever sort of um, mindset or skill set is being employed to make trades, as long as the markets are moved by a majority of short term trades and thinkers, this type of thing is going to happen. And it's so funny to me that Bitcoin going from, I think, whatever it was, 105, I think it went up to this weekend, down to 99 is somehow considered a crash. I mean, that's like a 5% move, so it's not really, I mean, a 5% move in the traditional market is a big move, but a 5% move in the crypto market is next to nothing. So I'm not really sure how we arrive at market crash from a 5% move in like the major token that moves crypto. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not. I don't think people are actually concerned about Bitcoin, but I saw a pretty interesting graphic today that showed the number of unique crypto tokens over time. So basically, from 2017 all the way up to 2024, or actually like even 2025. And it shows that in the first bull run, we always see as like the first one in like giving basically the direction. We always refer to 2017 and 2021 when we talk about the cycles. And in 2017, we had like just around a couple 100,000 coins, while in October 2021, we had like 5 million coins. And this year, in January 2025, we almost have like 35 million tokens, so 35 million different cryptocurrencies. So do you think it still makes sense for people to like just look at the past cycles in order to try to get an idea what's next?
Not really. I mean, I think the thing that people should be watching is adoption curves. And while we can talk about there being, millions and millions of coins, the truth is there aren't. I mean, most of these coins are not really considered players on any level, and never will be. So, I mean, the fact that we can create one is cool and it's fun and it's exciting. However, will it be adopted? Probably not. So do you really want to even look past maybe the top 50, top 100 tokens to even consider if you're an investor? Probably not. Not unless you have an inside track on something that's new, that's going to be some sort of market leading, market breaking idea. That doesn't really make sense, right? And unless you just have money to burn and are willing to put it at risk, you're not going to waste your time on these garbage tokens that keep coming up. So while you're right, I mean, a degen looks at that and they're like, okay, well, this is my chance. Someone who's an actual investor looks at that and says, I have no interest. And as we onboard newer and newer users, we're going to see what we get. Are we going to get more investors, people who are thinking long-term? Or are we going to get more degens? I think the answer to that question is going to be, we're going to get more average people who don't want to necessarily lose $100, versus a degen who's willing to lose 2 or 3 or 4,000 to try and hit a home run on the next $100 investment. That's just the way I think about it. Most people don't have a good appetite for risk. They just want to find something that they know will be somewhat secure. And of course, the word secure is always relative, and I get that. But I don't feel like, someone new coming into the space who is unfamiliar with wallets or, unfamiliar with security or unfamiliar with how these things move or work, or some of the, underpinnings that, groups operate under to sort of trade in lockstep with one another. I don't see the average person investing a whole lot of time into trying to figure that out. So, if adoption brings in more people who have more of a long-term mindset, then we'll see most of these tokens just basically be forgotten. It would have been a fun thing that you can tell the kids or the grandkids one day that, hey, I was there and I created this coin, but aside from that, I don't really see a whole lot of value there. So, as adoption becomes more and more mainstream and UIs become more functional and more user-friendly, you get more normal people. More normal people do more normal things. And I think that the vast majority of anything outside the top 100 is just going to be considered too risky. And you already see that in traditional markets, right? Like how many people trade, like over-the-counter stocks or penny stocks? Just a few. It's a fringe. It's a sort of a fringe activity because it's really risky, really volatile. And unless you have money to burn, you're not going to play there. Unless you have someone on the inside telling you, hey, we have, this groundbreaking technology that we think you should consider, you're not even going to look at it. So I feel like it's, crypto is just going to mirror what we've already done in the past.
Yeah, but I totally get that, especially when you talk about coins outside the top 100. But I mean, in 2021, even if you bought like any coin from the top 100, it felt like, everything was basically going up simultaneously.
Mm-hmm.
And like you could buy whatever you want, you probably would have made some money. And do you still see that coming this cycle as well, like especially for the top coins?
To a degree, yes. What I think is going to happen, and I think I've mentioned this a few times, is that there's going to be a flight to quality at some point. And people are going to stop wasting time, energy, effort, and brain power and compute and fees and, investable cash on garbage that doesn't pay. And so I think most people, and I'm one of them, when and if the altcoins run similarly to the way they've done in the past, what I will do is I will liquidate them all and move into quality, and I will never look back. And the reason for that is because when you have a noisy market, it becomes increasingly difficult to kind of stick your head up above it, if you're a new creator or a new project. And if you're an old project, it's almost impossible. So like if you look at the Matics or the Polkadots or the Cardanos, these were like new ideas in like that last era, that last era of run up. They were they had this sort of mystique about them that they could take on the majors, that they were going to do something new, that they were going to lower fees, that they were going to do this and that. And the truth is, you can't have that same excitement about the same idea twice. And so, unless and until they can prove that there's a value proposition outside of or a value proposition inside the one that they've already communicated that's actually going to bring in investment and eyeballs to what they've already created, then those tokens are forever locked at whatever they're locked at. Now, they might move up and down a little bit, but I don't think you're ever going to see, $40 Polkadot again. It's never going to happen. At least I don't think so. I could be wrong, and I'm holding some, so I hope I'm wrong, but, at the end of the day, if there is a run in that token, I will sell it and never look back.
Yeah, same here. I mean, I hold some Polkadot as well. I'm just waiting for like an exit opportunity. But in the end, I totally agree with everything you said. I mean, you do have exceptions out there, because if all that you said was valid, or basically valid for every coin, we would not have seen Ripple go up like this, right?
Well, we saw Ripple go up on news, though, right? Like they did something. Most recently, what did they say? I saw this earlier. What did they do? I think they signed contracts with, yeah. Oh, no. They got transmitter licenses in New York and Texas. So basically, this allows them to kind of operate under their original use case in those states. And this is on the back of, the SEC having to basically drop their lawsuit against them. So Ripple's had a lot of positive news. And of course, Ripple was released during that time period when everything was new and exciting. And a lot of people bought in, have been holding it for years, looking for an opportunity. And so now all of these people who've been like Ripple faithful, they're being rewarded, and they're not selling that Ripple, man. They're like, they've been locked in for so long. They've been trained to hold it. But the problem with Ripple is its use case has basically expired, and there's no need for it. I don't need Ripple to move value instantly anymore. I don't need Ripple to interop with banks anymore. Any other token can do that for the most part. If there's any form of interop built on the side of the parties exchanging value. And now, with on ramps and off ramps being so commonplace across the globe in different countries, I don't need Ripple at all. I don't really need any money changer, sort of escrow service at all. And then when you add to the fact that they've got, so many tokens, that their token supply is so high, I mean, you're never going to see Ripple, break out. That's never going to happen. And, I'm sorry to the Ripple faithful out there. I bought Ripple when it was, I think, 7 cents. I think I bought something like, 15, 16, 20,000 Ripple at like 7 cents or something, some stupid, ridiculously low number. And it ran up to like $3.15 when I wasn't paying attention. And then, so I missed the sale opportunity at $3.15, but then it came back down and it ran up to like, 50 cents, 60 cents. And I ended up selling it there for like an 800 or 900% gain. And I never looked back. And then the SEC issued their lawsuit. And then of course, all these other tokens began providing features to their chain that basically make Ripple redundant. And so I never even thought about buying it back. So, I think that's the story behind Ripple, and all of these other tokens, like you mentioned, Polkadot, Cardano, for example. They're going to have some sort of major breakthrough news in order for them to move big. And sort of once after the hype cycle expires on this headline for Ripple, Ripple will come back down. That's the only thing that can happen, I think, at this point.
Yeah, whatever you guys hold out there, whatever altcoin you hold, in case you're ever negative about, price action and everything, I got an advice for you. Just go to X, type that coin into the search bar, look for it, and you will find like 1,000 people basically finding reasons why your favorite coin is going up again. And like, this is crazy, because you see people, Ripple people, talk about, hey, we'll see $15 Ripple, we will see this, we will see that. I bet if I look for Polkadot right now, I'll see people claiming this can go to $200. And I mean, these kind of people create false expectations, obviously, and I do agree that you definitely need some, major news and I mean, in the end, it's not always about the news. I mean, we had that conversation with Jilly, I think, and I read a lot about, exchanges basically somehow controlling where market prices go because they obviously have an interest in sometimes, liquidating longs, leverage longs. Not sure to what point or to what degree that's true, but in the end, I think there are at least some instances out there like able to like control market prices. um but yeah, let's maybe move on a little bit from here, from the crypto space, the wild west, back to or to the next space, which is the Goodfellas. And you guys probably have heard that we've been hit pretty hard last week, but we've always revealed some plans how to move on from here, and we are currently working on creating some core NFTs in order to replace the existing collection and regain full control of everything. And we currently decided to open up the gates again for people to be able to become a boss player in the Goodfellas ecosystem. And this is actually a pretty unique and rare occasion because we did that back then when we minted the pieces or when we inscribed the pieces in August 2023. We haven't really talked about all that since then, and now we decided to give away a few more spots. I mean, we've met great people, throughout this journey, and I feel like there are definitely some people out there who deserve to be a boss. So yeah, have an eye out on Magic Eden, the boss collection, and make sure to, if you want to get a boss or you get your second boss, to buy it off like buy it from the Magic Eden marketplace, and do not look for Gamma or something. And yeah, this should be it, man. Give maybe you can give people a little time frame on what on when they can expect the core NFTs to be available.
Yeah, for sure. We've got to obviously do some resets here, and part of that's just going to be like creating, incredibly secure wallet, an incredibly secure wallet situation, so that we don't ever have to go through what we've gone through with the compromise. And so Alex is going to get kicking on that, and then I'm setting up a computer right now to basically for the remints in the core format. And what we'll do then is I've got to get all this set up. And then because I've already got the pieces and all the metadata, it shouldn't take very much time to get them minted. But Alex and I need to reinvest, and we need to put together, like a P&L. We need to put together some back-end paperwork. And then, of course, we've got to set up the technology. And it's a newer technology, so it might take a few minutes for me to figure it out. But then once we've got that rolling, we'll get everything out. And it'll probably be, like I said on the call, I'd expect, give us, about a month or so. It, probably won't take that long, but just give us that, I'm just putting that out there so I can under promise and over deliver. But we'll get all that taken care of as soon as possible. And, we'll be back in business before you know it. And, anyone who's interested in what we're doing and taking on one of those boss pieces in the interim, obviously feel free to reach out to myself or Alex, and we'll take care of you. But the cool thing, because we are specifically like IP rights driven, and we do own the rights to everything, the old collections will be delisted and pulled down, and the new collections that will replace them will be legally ours as well. And no one, like I said, anyone holding our pieces, you guys are perfectly safe. We're basically able to provide insurance against this type of thing because of the fact that we have the IP rights. And so no one here is going to be out anything. And I think that's just the key thing here. It creates a massive headache for myself and Alex, of course. But all of you guys are shielded from that. And so don't worry, give us some time. We'll get you all taken care of. We'll get those pieces swapped out, and we'll move on to the core NFTs, which are going to open up some new doors for us.
Yeah, absolutely. And one final information I have, maybe if you guys, just opened up your Spotify or YouTube or whatever and you saw like, hey, that's two new episodes. Why is that? The reason for that is that the last episode before this current one is actually the episode that we recorded before midday and basically before the day we got exploited last week. So yeah, when you can feel free to listen to that episode. There's obviously some topics in there like the Trump drop that we plan to have um, that are not going to happen in the near future, but definitely in the long term. But yeah, give that episode a listen as well. May feel like a little time travel for you to a time when things were better for us. But yeah, just heads up on this. This is the reason we decided, because it was a pretty cool episode, to upload it as well. And yeah, this should be it for today, I think.
Yep, absolutely. We're going to jump off, guys. Have a fantastic rest of week, and we'll see you in the next episode. Take care.